Rachel Zegler is the prime example of how you should never think that you're bigger than the project.
A lot of what you see with Zegler is really just a pretty common Gen Z mentality.
The only excuse I can make for her is that she's young, she's immature, she doesn't know any better.
You took on the role, and that job comes with certain basic responsibilities. And one of the most basic is the responsibility to control yourself and comport yourself a certain way publicly so that you don't harm the project, thereby harm all the hundreds of other people who are working with it.
She thinks the worst is behind her. The footage is already out, the lawsuits are already flying, and her legal team is working overtime to scrub every trace of the scandal from the internet.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
But now Joe Rogan enters the chat, because just days after the now infamous audio clip of Rachel Zegler's backstage Evita outburst starts quietly making waves in private theater groups and fan forums, it explodes onto a whole new level. It hits the Joe Rogan experience. And the moment Joe presses play, everything shifts. This isn't a throwaway comment, and it's not some headline he skims. It's a full-blown on-air reaction, raw, unscripted, and instantly viral.
And you don't really hate... No, I don't hate it.
The leaked audio is already explosive on its own. Allegedly recorded during a tense Evita rehearsal break, it features what sounds unmistakably like Rachel Zegler losing it backstage. Her voice raised, venting about cast members, slamming directors, and making the kind of raw, unfiltered comments that ignite full-scale internet meltdowns. The audio quality is rough, the clip barely a minute long, but the tone, crystal clear. Frustration, tension, maybe even straight-up rage. And now, Joe Rogan is all over it.
Rachel, what's it like to be in a movie with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu?
It's fucking great. Okay? It's fucking great. I'm honored. I don't know why I sound so angry right now. I'm honored. Am I a psychopath? No, I've been getting a lot of questions about, like, how do I feel? I feel amazing. We start kind of soon, and I'm just like...
In a segment that's already being chopped up and blasted across TikTok, Rogan plays the audio mid-podcast. No preamble, no build-up. His reaction? Instant. He leans in, pauses for just a second, then unleashes. True to form, he doesn't hold back, calling out the meltdown, the ego, and what he sees as the broader dysfunction bubbling in the industry. Within hours, the internet goes up in flames. Split-screen edits flood the algorithm. Reaction threads light up. Meme compilations explode. YouTube shorts titled, "Joe Rogan Destroys Zegler," pull in hundreds of thousands of views by morning. Influencer commentary kicks into overdrive, and what started as a niche theater scandal officially detonates into a full-blown culture war. Because when Joe Rogan speaks, people listen. And this time, his words land harder than any cease and desist.
I've never heard of her before. I don't know if this is her first project or if she's done movies like this before or anything that has anything to do with acting. Now she's mad because they done fired her from upcoming projects, but you're not a team player. Why would somebody want to hire you when you don't know how to play your part? Like, you didn't know how to play your part in the movie and in the real world. Let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson, Rachel Zegler, and to anybody else who think that they are bigger than the project.
So now the questions change. What exactly is in that audio that sets Rogan off? Why does this reaction hit harder than every headline, every leak, every whisper that's come before? And how does a single 34-second clip, grainy, raw, barely edited, end? Up-flipping the entire Rachel Zegler narrative on its head? To get it, we've got to rewind the chaos. All the way back to the first moment the audio leaks, from a backstage break turned battleground, to the exact second Joe Rogan presses play. Because this wasn't just a podcast segment, this was ignition.
The negative effects of this.
This is an explosive area of conversation.
Whoa. I didn't expect that. He's looking at me silently. I will respectfully move on.
Thank you.
The audio is only 34 seconds long, but it doesn't need to be longer. It opens mid-chaos. No introduction, no build-up. Just raw, unfiltered backstage tension. You hear distant voices clashing, scattered footsteps echoing against what sounds like a creaky stage floor, muffled instructions flying from someone off mic, and then, cutting through it all like a knife, is her. A sharp, emotional voice, unmistakably Rachel Zegler.
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached a generation of people. Now I'm a part of that legacy to some degree, and it's not something I take lightly, and it's just the most emotional experience.
Her tone is tense, not crying, not screaming, but tight, clipped and brimming with restrained frustration. You can hear the heat just under the surface. She says something like, "I'm not doing this again." The kind of line that doesn't just signal conflict, it declares it. Then comes what insiders are calling the smoking gun, a line that seems to reference the director directly. It's muffled, but the intent is unmistakable, personal, pointed, and furious. Then there's a pause, just a breath, but it's the calm before the storm, because right after that, she raises her voice.
And I'm there 24/7. I can't get out of it. And I don't know if that will make sense, but that's where I'm at. I'm so grateful for the things that I'm able to do. And a lot of what I'm able to do is because of you guys. And I'm so unbelievably thankful for that.
It's not just the volume, it's the intensity. The kind of emotional spike that doesn't come from a missed cue or a tough note. It screams that this is personal. And allegedly the target of her frustration, the production staff, maybe even the director himself. According to multiple sources, Rachel lashes out about being unfairly blamed and not being respected. 2 words that hit like daggers in the already tense. Backstage dynamic, but it's one line in particular that detonates online. "This isn't their show, it's mine. Is it arrogance, a meltdown, a desperate push for control?" That's what the internet can't stop debating. On TikTok, creators are dissecting the clip line by line like it's a Zapruder film. Twitter is ablaze with threads arguing whether Rachel's unhinged or just under impossible pressure.
Big reason why so many people are turned off by Rachel Zegler's attitude and behavior. I'm not saying that she's a mean girl in real life, but that attitude usually is something that people associate with mean girls in real life. At the same time, I also think that it's just because she's a theater kid, so the way she acts makes sense and she just needs PR training. Social media personalities have thrived on it before, but now girls are just done with it. And that could be because of the mistreatment that a lot of women have gotten in their lives from other girls. And so now growing up after going through these mistreatments from other women in our lives, we're like, no. We're done with this. It's pretty interesting because I definitely think that there's a shift towards more compassion and understanding. Again, not saying that Rachel Zegler at all was like a mean girl or anything like that.
What makes this audio different from every previous leak is exactly that. It's audio. There's no grainy backstage footage to question, no shady edits, no conveniently timed jump cuts or director's notes laced with allegedly biased wording. It's just her voice. Raw, unfiltered, caught in a split second where the mask slips and the frustration pours out. And that's exactly why Joe Rogan's reaction hits harder than anything before. Because when he hears it, with no visuals to color the moment, he reacts in real time. No filters, no excuses. He calls it what he sees it as, a full-blown meltdown. The power of this leak isn't in what's seen, it's in what's heard.
Or what?
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
And now that people are hearing it for themselves, the controversy is mutating. The story isn't just about a backstage moment anymore. It's about control exposure and the price of being caught without a script. But what does Rogan say exactly, and why is his take sending the internet into overdrive? Let's get into it because his words hit like a punch.
People are mad at the big head girl. So now if you notice the spin on it, they're putting it all on her. I mean, I'm sure she sucks, but she is very young.
It's kind of sucks that a kid gets put into the position like that. You're young, and I know you have opinions about things, but this should be just about the movie.
Well,
it's just
to defend big head girl, the message of the movie is to be that That's the message that they wrote a script that's telling girls, I don't need nobody tells me. I'm a 20-year-old girl, so obviously I should run my mouth all the time. That's the theme. Now,
it's not the same story?
No.
The audio finishes playing, and Joe Rogan just sits there for a moment, silent, brows raised, like the whole studio freezes. You can almost feel the tension, even over a podcast. Then he lets out this tight, sharp, slightly disbelieving laugh, that kind of laugh that says, "Are you hearing what I'm hearing?" He leans in and says something like, "That's the clip. That's what everyone's been trying to shut down." Right away, you know he's not holding back. His guest, a fellow comedian, just shakes his head and mutters, "Bro, that's wild." From there, the conversation explodes. Rogan calls the outburst entitled "Unhinged" and exactly what happens when people aren't used to hearing no. He says Rachel's team trying to erase the clip only makes it worse because now everyone wants to know what's in it. He compares it to Hollywood's obsession with image control, actors polished in interviews but falling apart the moment they lose control. Then he gets even sharper. "This isn't just a bad day," he says. "It's a pattern." He brings up her Snow White controversy, her red carpet attitude, interviews that rubbed people the wrong way. He talks about how some stars start believing their own hype, forgetting they're part of a team, not the center of the universe. Then, with a punch, he jokes, "You're not Ava Perón, you're playing Ava Perón." And just like that, the internet erupts. Within minutes, clips are everywhere. TikTok flooded with videos titled "Rogan reacts to Zegler Meltdown." Some slowed down, some classic reaction format, clip, then Joe's face twisting in disbelief. On Twitter, the quote, "You're not Eva Perón" starts trending. YouTube creators stitch the podcast audio with the leaked backstage rant, framing it as Rogan versus Rachel. People aren't just reacting to Rachel Zegler anymore, they're reacting to Rogan's reaction. His words crystallize what a lot of frustrated fans have been feeling, that Rachel's rise came too fast, her attitude shifted too soon, and now the cracks are showing. Of course, some accuse Joe of piling on, turning one emotional moment into a character assassination. But either way, he's now part of the story. This isn't the first time Joe Rogan has thrown gasoline on a celebrity fire. He's done it with Will Smith, Meghan Markle, Ezra Miller, but something about this hits different. Maybe it's because the original audio leak is so raw, so intimate, so clearly not meant for public ears. The fact that Rogan plays it, comments on it, and refuses to walk back his words gives the scandal new life. Fans eat it up because in a world where most celebrities avoid controversy like the plague, Rogan walks straight into it and lights a match. He doesn't soften it, doesn't hide behind PR language. He says what people are already thinking. And for better or worse, that's exactly why this moment is exploding. Now the real question, what happens when Rachel hears this? If her team was already upset about the leak, they're not ready for what comes next. The moment Rogan's reaction hits the internet, it's like someone pulled the pin on a grenade and tossed it right into the middle of the Evita controversy. Within hours, TikTok is flooded with clips, split-screen edits showing Rachel's alleged outburst waveform on one side and Joe's face twisting in disbelief on the other. Others dub dramatic music under Rogan's "You're not Eva Perón" quote, and some add animated subtitles designed for maximum virality. The hashtag #Zegler Meltdown starts trending again, but this time it's paired with Rogan roast. Over on Twitter, the conversation escalates fast. Influencers who hadn't touched the Rachel Zegler situation before suddenly jump in, not because of the audio itself, but because Joe Rogan reacted to it. One viral tweet even says, "I wasn't even following the Zegler drama, but if Rogan's talking about it, it's officially huge." And they're right. Rogan's platform isn't niche. It's not Broadway or traditional Hollywood. It's global, messy, emotional, and when he reacts, it means the story has officially broken containment. Reddit threads light up. Fan communities debate whether Rogan's comments are valid or unnecessarily harsh. Some say he's just voicing what everyone's thinking. Others accuse him of kicking someone when they're already down. But no matter which side you're on, everyone agrees on one thing. This reaction is fuel. Even people who once defended Rachel start questioning the narrative. They replay the audio, dissect her tone, Some try to justify it, saying it's a high-pressure role and everyone cracks. Others respond, yeah, but not like that. YouTube creators jump in next. Commentary channels post full breakdowns. One video titled, "Joe Rogan just ended Rachel Zegler's career in 30 seconds," racks up 200K views in 24 hours. Another calls it, "the final nail in the coffin." Sure, it's exaggerated, but it works. Even parody accounts get in on the action. Memes show Rachel photoshopped in an Evita costume inside Rogan's studio. One post reads, "Evita the Musical, brought to you by the Joe Rogan Experience." It's everywhere. The original leaked audio was bad. The cease and desist letters only made it worse. But Joe Rogan reacting to it? That's what turns it from a scandal into a full-blown spectacle. And it's not just the internet feeling the heat. The big question now, how do Rachel and her legal team respond to this new level of backlash? Let's dive in, because what comes next might be even messier. Rachel's legal team doesn't waste time. Sources close to the situation say her attorneys are already assessing their options. The leaked audio alone was enough to push them into damage control mode, but Rogan amplifying it to millions? That changes everything. It's no longer just about scrubbing clips from Twitter or TikTok. It's about fighting a tidal wave of commentary that's snowballing faster than they can react. Insiders say her team is especially alarmed by the shift in tone. Before Rogan's podcast, much of the backlash could be contained within theater gossip, niche YouTube channels, or fan speculation. But Rogan's take gives the story mainstream firepower. News outlets start using his reaction as a hook, with headlines like, "Joe Rogan slams Rachel Zegler over leaked audio," "Zegler drama reignited after Rogan rant," and "Backstage tantrum goes viral again, this time thanks to Joe Rogan." That's the real sting. Not the original leak, but the new momentum behind it. Behind the scenes, there's talk of issuing a second round of cease and desist letters, not just to accounts reposting the audio, but to those amplifying it with Rogan's commentary. The legal gray area is tricky here. The original clip might have been leaked without consent, but once it's embedded in commentary or parody, takedown claims become harder to enforce. That's part of what frustrates her team. They're reportedly scrambling to shift the narrative, possibly crafting a new statement, a PR angle, maybe a clarification, a response video, or even a controlled media interview. But at this point, the internet isn't waiting for official word. They've already chosen sides. Some are defending Rachel passionately now, claiming she's being cyberbullied by big platforms and powerful voices. Others say her team's aggressive legal tactics only make her look worse, like she's trying to silence criticism instead of owning her mistakes. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan keeps on with business as usual. No apology, no retraction, just a few viral quotes, a laugh, and a comment about how you can't fake authenticity. Rachel's team is left to clean up the fallout, but the fire's already out of the bottle. So what happens next? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this whole scandal, the footage, the audio, the reactions, it might be part of something much deeper, something cultural. This isn't just one actress having a rough day. It's not even just about Rachel Zegler anymore. What's happening now with the leaks, the viral reactions, the public takedowns, this is part of a bigger pattern eating Hollywood alive. The internet isn't just watching stars anymore. It's recording them, reacting in real time, and weaponizing every misstep like never before. Think about it. Years ago, a backstage meltdown stayed backstage. A harsh word, a miscue, a bad rehearsal that was handled quietly between professionals. But now, one phone mic, one TikTok upload, one podcast reaction, and suddenly your worst moment becomes your entire identity. Rachel Zegler is just the latest target in a long line. Before her, it was Ezra Miller. Before that, Amber Heard. Before that, Will Smith. Different scandals for sure, but the same relentless cycle. A moment leaks, the public reacts, and then commentary from big voices like Joe Rogan locks the narrative in place. What's truly scary is how fast it all happens. Rachel's backstage tension built up over weeks. Then a clip leaked, causing a stir. Legal teams responded. The audio dropped. Then Joe Rogan reacted. And now it's no longer just a niche scandal. It's a full-blown culture war. People aren't just asking, what did she say? They're asking, is this who she really is? And that question? It's brutal. In 2024, public image isn't about your work anymore. It's about moments. And the internet has decided Rachel Zegler's moment is this: the tantrum, the meltdown, the quote, the clip. Is it fair? Maybe not. But it's real. And Hollywood is watching. Studios, publicists, casting agents, they all pay close attention to moments like this. They know how fast a rising star can crash, not because of talent, but because of optics. And now, with the world's biggest podcaster throwing gasoline on the fire, every exec is asking the same question: is she worth the risk? That's the danger, not the leaked audio, not the lawsuits, not even Joe Rogan himself. The real danger is how quickly this can become a career-defining narrative. If Rachel Zegler, one of Hollywood's youngest leading stars, doesn't find a way to flip this narrative soon, the internet will write the ending for her. So, what happens now? Let's wrap this up, because this isn't just about a podcast segment. It's about survival in a world that never forgets. We've seen it all play out. The audio leak, the internet firestorm, the Rogan reaction, and the panic. Behind the scenes. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. This story was already spiraling, but when Joe Rogan stepped in, he didn't just react. He redirected the entire narrative. Think about the timeline. Footage leaks, public reacts, Rachel's team, scrambles with legal letters and silence. Then the audio drops, a new layer, a new piece of evidence. Some say it humanizes her, others say it confirms everything. It could have gone either way. But then Joe Rogan presses play, and everything tilts. Because when someone with that platform, that voice, that influence reacts casually, unscripted, in front of millions, it's not just commentary, it's narrative control. Suddenly, a struggling starlet scandal becomes a talking point for the entire culture. The worst part? Rachel never gets the last word. She's quiet. Her team's only making legal threats. But while she's on defense, Rogan's clip is everywhere, stitched into memes, turned into punchlines, used as proof, even if it's just an opinion. That's what makes it so powerful. In the court of public opinion, the first story to hit the hardest wins, and Rogan's voice hits harder than any press release ever could. Now the big question, where does Rachel Zegler go from here? Can she recover? Possibly, but it won't be easy. She'll need a strategic reset, something bold, raw, and real, maybe a candid interview, maybe a full admission, maybe even owning the moment that's being used to define her. Because right now, the silence is deafening. And every second she doesn't speak, the internet fills in the blanks. Here's what this scandal teaches us, not just about Rachel, but about celebrity culture in general. Fame is no longer a shield. A leaked clip can level you overnight. Narrative matters more than truth. Once the internet decides who you are, good luck changing its mind. And no moment is ever private again. Not on stage, not backstage, not even off mic. It's a harsh reality for the stars of today, but it's also why so many people are glued to this story. Because it's not just drama anymore, it's about watching a public figure try to survive the digital gauntlet in real time. For Rachel Zegler, the next move she makes will be the most important of her career. Will she fight back? Will she disappear? Will she reinvent herself? We don't know yet. But what we do know is this. The internet is watching. Rogan is talking. And this story isn't over, because if there's one thing we've learned about scandals like this, it's that there's always one more leak, one more twist, one more reaction waiting to blow it all wide open again. So if you want to be the first to see what happens next, subscribe, hit the bell, and get ready, because in this story, the loudest moment might still be coming.